Hi, welcome again to After Today, the Prophecy of Tomorrow. Today we're looking at part 2 of the Rapture. When is it going to take place? What are the signs to look for? What are the things that are going to be happening around it? And we left off in the last episode. We're looking at the hour of temptation, what Revelation 3:10 says, and what this really is. A lot of people think that this is talking about tribulation. It's not. It's talking about something that happens in tribulation. You know, when the tribulation happens, the Antichrist is going to gain power for 3.5 years and have world control. To get that power, he's going to have to do something special. So I think what happens is he's going to be assassinated, and Revelation 13 talks about this, and come back to life, and then he's going to go in the temple and sit in the temple and make an announcement that he's God. Well, the temple is not here yet. The third temple is going to be rebuilt by the Jewish nation, by Israel. And when that's rebuilt, you know, I think it's going to be part of a peace treaty, a 7-year peace treaty that is going to be between the Israel and the Arab nations. And I think we're already seeing a start of that now. We see what's called the Abraham Accords. This is an agreement between Jordan, United Arab Emirates, and Israel so far to live peacefully together. A lot of other nations are going to join that. And as part of that final 7-year peace treaty, I think there's going to be an arrangement that Israel will be able to rebuild the third temple. Because it talks about the Antichrist doing something in the temple. It says, let's take a look at it. When the Antichrist comes to power, it says that he's going to go into the temple, sit in the temple and say, I'm God. Well, what's really going to make them believe that? The Antichrist is going to have special powers, as it says in Revelation chapter 13. It says in 13:4, and they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who's like unto the beast? Who's able to make war with him? He's going to be doing something that people are going to believe he's all-powerful. And what that is, I think, is once he rises from the dead, he's going to go into the temple, and the Jews are going to be doing their animal sacrifice again, which is going to make the world mad, because that's what they did in the Old Testament. They would sacrifice an animal on the altar, bring the blood from the altar into the Ark of the Temple, and they put the blood on the mercy seat, which is where they kept the 10 Commandments. It's a gold box. If God accepted the sacrifice, he would come down and lick up the blood off the altar with fire, and he'd also consume the sacrifice with fire. And so they're going to do sacrifices, but this isn't going to work, because Christ said, I am the ultimate sacrifice. There will be no more other sacrifices. But Israel doesn't believe he came once, so they're going to do this, and they're not going to get the result they want. They're not going to get fire coming down from heaven from God to accept their sacrifice. But the Antichrist will have power to come in to the temple, to sit on the temple. He said, look, you guys have been worshiping the wrong God. I'm God. I'm here to prove that I'm God. He's going to bring fire down from heaven, take up the sacrifice. And all the Jews are going to believe him. All the world's going to probably believe him. If you're not a Christian and you don't know this is coming, you're going to believe him, because this is extraordinary power that no man has. And this is sent to deceive those that dwell upon the earth, as it says in several parts of Revelation. Now those who dwell upon the earth, again, are a targeted people, unsaved Christ rejectors that don't have any spiritual life, they don't have any spiritual interest, they live for this world. Those are those who dwell upon the earth. And wherever you see judgments on those people on the earth, it's specifically targeted at these folks. Not targeted at Christians, it's targeted at these folks. And these people have no thoughts for God, no thoughts about the Spirit. They encapsulate their whole lives into this world. Luke 21:35 says, for as a snare it shall come upon all of them that dwell upon the face of the whole earth. There's that verse, all that dwell on the face of the earth. This is that time where he comes and sits in the temple, and people are going to believe him. Verse 36 says, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of God. There's a parallel between Matthew and Revelation when Christ comes back. Let's take a look at Matthew 13:24 through 30. It says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while he slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Tares are like weeds that look like wheat. And when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came in and said to him, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in the field? And how come these tares are coming up? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Well, what do you want us to do? Should we go gather them up? He says, Nay, lest ye gather up the tares, ye root up the wheat with them. He said, Let both of them grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So this is a picture of the rapturing of the saints and the judgment of the people at Armageddon. Let's look at that parallel in Revelation. Revelation 14, verse 14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, saying, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. This is the rapture of the saints, okay? He's taking the wheat, the good stuff, putting them in his barn, into heaven. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. This is the reaping of the wicked at Armageddon. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, the tares, okay, and cast them into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city. This is Armageddon. And blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. The valley of Megiddo, where Armageddon is going to happen, it's about that length. It's about the same thing. So what's going to happen? He says here that the blood came out of the wine. He's tromping the winepress. You know, when wine is made, especially back in the old days, they would stomp on the wine by stomping the grapes. They stomp the grapes, and the grape juice would fly up, you know, pretty high. The same thing is going to happen here, but instead of, you know, stomping on grapes, you know, God's going to stomp on people, and he's going to stomp them with great hail. Let's see what he does in Revelation 16:21. There fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. That's about 100 pounds. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Imagine 100-pound hailstones coming down in Armageddon. If it smashes somebody, that blood's going to spurt up high. It says to the horse bridles. So that's what it's talking about here. Well, what does Peter say? Peter says in 2 Peter 2:9, The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of punishment. And he knows how to deliver them out of temptation, and deliver them into, so that they may escape. It says in 2 Peter 3:10, But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burned up. That's Armageddon. His day is coming at Armageddon, when the earth is going to be destroyed by war and God himself. Luke 21 says, For as a snare shall come unto all them that dwell upon the face of the earth. Only the Christ rejectors are not going to be fooled by it. Those who are Christians will not. It says, Watch ye therefore, and pray always that ye may be counted worthy to escape all these things. Now that word escape, what does that mean? A lot of people think it means extrication. When you're escaping Revelation, you're being taken out of the world. I don't think it means that. I think escape does not mean extrication. It means getting you through a situation. Ephesians 6:13, Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Escape means to make perfectly whole or to run away from. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with that temptation make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Escape here does not mean taking you out. It means, you know, getting you through it. 2 Peter 2:20, For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ, again, this is not escaping the world, it's escaping the pollutions of the world, escaping the temptations. Hebrews 2:3, how should we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? How should we escape does not mean how should we escape the earth. It means how should we escape from not believing and having to go to hell. A lot of Christians believe, well, in Noah's day when the ark came, that's a picture of the rapture before the tribulation. Well, the ark was there for 100 years before it actually sailed. So there's plenty of warning, and the ark didn't get taken out. The ark actually rode on top of the flood. And so it went through the flood, not taken away from it. People looking at Lot's wife, they say, you know, what happened when Lot was extricated from, you know, him and his wife and a few people were extricated from that situation over in Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, they were taken out, but you know, Lot's wife so loved that lifestyle that she had to look back. She wasn't looking back just to look back. She was looking back and regret that she had to leave. And with that heart of regret, God turned her into a pillar of salt. Again, John 17:15, I pray not that you should take them out of the world, but you should keep them from the evil. What does Daniel say? Daniel says in Daniel 12:1, at the time shall Michael stand up, this is in the tribulation period, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. In that time thy people shall be delivered. It says Christians shall be delivered. Their souls, everyone that should be found written in the book. And this event occurs in Revelation chapter 12, 7 through 9. And many of them sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life and some to shame and everlasting contempt. You know, let's take a look at what 1 Thessalonians 5:9 says again. For God hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. Tribulation is for Christ rejectors, people who don't believe in God. It's not for Christians. Luke 21:36 again says, watch. Now, a lot of Christians say, well, there's no mention of the book, in the book of Revelation, of the church after chapter 3. Well, that's not true. Let's take a look at Revelation 7:9. In Revelation 7:9, we see the greatest revival of all time. It's going to happen during the tribulation period. And let's see what John says. It says in Revelation 7:9, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? You know, and he said, Sir, thou knowest. You know, John didn't recognize them because they were future martyrs. You know, he would have known if it was people that came out of the church age, but it wasn't. It was future martyrs, people that were in the tribulation period. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell with them. Neither shall they hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. These are things that happen in the great tribulation period. It says they shall hunger no more. In the great tribulation, you know, a lot of the crops of the earth are going to be damaged. Food is going to be scarce. Neither thirst anymore. A lot of the water is going to be turned to blood and poisoned because of nuclear waste or whatever. Neither shall the sun light on them anymore, nor any heat. Well, there's going to be another world war coming, and that is going to be a nuclear war. And that war is going to destroy the ozone. After the ozone is destroyed, the sun is going to blare down on people, and people are going to be scorched with fire. They're going to be burned with heat. Revelation 16, I'm sorry. And so this is talking about those who die during the Great Tribulation. It says there's a number that no man could number. Yeah, that's how many people there are going to be. No man can number. That's going to be the biggest, revival in the history. Because they're going to see what's happening. They're going to see the Christians that are still here to tell them what's happening. The two witnesses are going to tell them what's happening. An angel from heaven is going to tell them what's happening. There's going to be plenty of warning and plenty of people here to tell them what's happening. Let's just look at Revelation 7:17. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them into living fountains of waters, and God shall wipe away tears from their eyes. This is what's going to happen to the Christians that died during the tribulation. There are Christians saved during this time. Again, the biggest revival of all time. Christ is coming back, and he is going to be coming back, in my opinion, at the end of the tribulation. I don't see any proof that he's coming before the tribulation. There's nothing that we've read in any of these scriptures, and these are all the scriptures that I knew to find about the rapture. None of them specifically say anything about a pre-tribulation rapture or that he's going to come before. Christ himself specifically said, I'm coming after, and I'm going to send my angels and gather the people unto myself. That happens after the tribulation. So, a lot of people aren't going to listen to this video. They're probably going to turn it off because they want to believe what their fathers told them and what their grandfathers told them, what their pastor told them. Let me tell you, people that in the previous generations, they don't get the book of Revelation like this generation does. Daniel was speaking about the things at the end time, and angel told Daniel, look, shut up these things until the time of the end, because they won't be able to be understood. The technology that we have today opens up the book. For instance, in Revelation chapter 11, it talks about 2 witnesses that should be killed, and the whole world are going to see them for 3.5 days. They're going to just leave their bodies in the streets. They're going to be hated so much. Well, 200 years ago, you couldn't even dream that this could be happening. But with radio and technology and TV and satellites, this is obvious. It's easy to understand. They couldn't understand it because they didn't have the technology. The artificial intelligence we have nowadays. There's going to be, Revelation 13 talks about an image of a beast. There's going to be an image of a beast that people are going to have to worship. If they don't, they'll be killed. Well, this couldn't be possible before artificial intelligence. Look up everything you can find about, like Sophia the robot, or Boston Technology has a bunch of robots that do parkour. It's amazing what artificial intelligence is doing right now, and that helps us to understand the book. This generation is the one that the book has opened up to, not the previous generations. So, again, thank you so much for being with us today, and look forward to seeing you again at After Today, the Prophecy of Tomorrow.